Great. Okay, welcome everyone to the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Tuesday, September 6, 2016. And let me just show myself here briefly before we have to get it working here. Oh, I know I have to.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, just a second here while I get my screen set up.
Mhm.
Hmm. There I am. Okay. Let me just make the announcement here while I'm in the screen because I wasn't just to announce that is. Hi everybody, it's the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group, Tuesday, September 6, 2016. And you were saying you had a question? Is that Francie?
Oh, yes, I have a question. I have many friends who want to have a McGrath in their home. They don't want to make it by themselves. They want to buy it. Where can they see that the McGrath is working?
Where
On
can they
internet?
see that it's working? They would have to contact somebody that already has one. There's no working demonstrations that I know that are set up as such. But there's lots of people doing workshops and they have working units that they can demonstrate. If they want one that's an official Keshe Foundation maggrav, the official maggrav from the certified manufacturers, the blue unit basically, then they would have to order one through the Keshe Foundation website.
Merci. Thank you.
Otherwise,
I
there are
would like.
workshops. These workshops have become popular now, which is in Germany and in Peru and in let me see, the Philippines and a few other places. They're starting these workshops where people come in and they wind their own coils, they make their GANs and other create their nano-materials and so on, and they create their own maggrav units. I think over like 2 weekends or something like that. And some of the parts can be supplied for people that aren't able to do it themselves or would rather just pay someone else or have someone else do it for them with an exchange program and so on. For example, you could go to the workshop and make two maggrav devices, and one might be for someone else that was sponsoring you to be in that workshop. So you make the magravs and you get to keep one, and you give one to someone else who sponsored the workshop and so on. So there are ways that people can pay to get a maggrav without going directly through the Keshe Foundation. But then it won't have the Keshe Foundation logo on it. It can't be certified for the idea with the Keshe Foundation maggrav units is they should be certified in the country where they're being used. So that's the idea. Mr. Keshe doesn't want his name put on maggrav units that are just made by people and used. They have to be certified and go through the regular process to be legal and proper in a country and so on.
Thank you very much.
Okie dokie. And while we have you on the line here, let's get back to my screen share briefly on the. This is called the Everlasting Meadow Battery. And I thought that's a very strange sort of name and got my attention. And this is from Francie, who was just speaking here. And so let's have a look at this video, and it's only a couple minutes long, about 3 minutes, and let's see what this is about. I'm trying to make it a bit bigger here so it's a little easier to see. go. And I'll zero in on the live stream for people to see it easier. Okay, I think we're... Okay, I gotta... Oopsie. There we go. A lot going on here. Okay, I think I've got it lined up. Now I'm gonna try the sound and make sure it works okay. Let's try it there.
Hi everybody. Here you
Can you hear that? Is that too low?
It was okay.
Is it okay? Okay, it's hard for me to tell whether it's too low or not. I can change it at the live stream end. Okay, let's go back and let's carry on.
Hi everybody. Here you see my solar panel with with the battery for the lines to keep the animals inside. But it is not always working, so I made my everlasting battery, as Mr. Keshe told us in one of the YouTubes. Look here what I have done. This is my horse Oscar. Yes, I have
It's
him
not
now.
easy.
Yeah, that way. Look here.
It's
In
not
the
turning.
original
No.
I was playing fine here.
Okay.
that way. Look here. In the original black box, this one, I put a plastic one. And in that plastic one, I put the battery, the black inside. But the battery is standing into the zinc GANs, zinc CO2 GANs, and I put some iron amino acid GANs inside. Maybe I don't say anything, everything quite right, but it works. So, and on the poles I made the coils. I hope you can see it. Two coils on the plus and one on the minus. So the battery is standing in the plasma of the GANs from zinc and amino acid from iron. And the coils, I didn't put iron amino acid over it. I have to do that later. In between, I put aluminium paper against losing the GANs because it is very hot in France. It's a kind of isolation. And I saw Mr. Keshe doing something with aluminium with the battery. So I thought I take also aluminium. So it is working. I have a lot of electricity on the lines. My animals are staying inside now. They are not escaping anymore. I'm so very happy. And I think this is also important to show to farmers because it is an everlasting battery. You never have to buy a battery again. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank anybody who is working and showing this because I'm now making a MAGRAF and my MAGRAF is also going on 12-volt battery because I have no electricity here. And from that we will make later a video. Au revoir. Merci beaucoup.
All right. Well, what do people think of that?
Great video.
Yeah, it's pretty good, eh? That was Armin.
Yes.
Hi, Armin.
Oh, hello.
Do you think she got the theory and practice down quite well on that one, or?
Definitely. This is perfect. Show everywhere.
Right on.
Yeah.
So,
Keep on trying. This is good. They're expanding.
yeah, I think this is a really good application for this kind of technology. It may be that the solar panel will work most of the time, but maybe putting it with the GANs and the coils makes it so it works all the time rather than inconsistently. They work well together.
That's right. It is also working now in the night.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I wonder, do the animals like it? Is there any difference in their
Um,
behavior or anything with this?
yes, they're staying more far away from the lines now. Much more far away from the lines. My horse is looking to me like he would say, "What is this kind of energy?" But it is really working good. It is a steady state on the same level. Also, when it is dark weather, also with the rain, also with in the night, it is amazing because normally you see it's going down and then it is going up with the sunshine, but now it is the same level. It's almost 12 volt, a little bit less, but it is almost 12 volt. And I don't know if the solar panel is still working because the red line was not good connected. I have to look after that again. But it is really a beautiful way of doing it and so easy.
Thank you. Thank you for showing it. I hope to put that up in the Knowledge Seekers workshop tomorrow as well.
Wow.
Okay, and so go ahead.
Rick, excuse me. I see only my battery at this moment. Is that correct?
Pardon me, you have only your battery?
No, on my computer, I see now at the moment only the battery. I don't see you or
Oh,
anything else.
yeah, that's right. I disconnected my video, and
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah, I
okay.
was going to do a different screen share and go to your other your picture of your MagGrav connections, and maybe we can have a look at that and talk about that for you and sort that out. Now that we have
But
some.
she can
Yes.
she can do it differently. If you want, you don't need even solar panel. If you create a coil, one of the stackers inside the coil, if you take that one, you can connect, and it can give you the energy for your fence. You don't need the solar panel at all.
Um, please, can you say that again? Because I have two other batteries to the line, but I have no solar panel on that battery.
Just try to, the coils that we are creating for energy, MyGrav units.
Yes.
If you take one of those coils, even two, and you can connect it, to your battery maybe.
And you're saying without the grid, with no grid power, just the coils, right, Armin?
Yeah, just the coils.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
And also the GANs inside.
No, you don't need GANs. You just nano coat your coils and just put it on top of.
Wow.
You already have the GANs inside, correct?
Yes, but when I do it with the other batteries, there's still no GANs
You
inside.
already have the GANs outside, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
the GANs outside around.
you can nano coat your coils and just whatever GANs you put it, just apply it on top of the coils and connect it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Like an infinite loop.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes, yes.
Okay. Well, that.
This is beautiful. Thank you.
Going to bring up her other question that she has here. Let's have a look at that. Oh, you're still discussing it there, Armin. You want to have a? Do you want to?
I am sorry. No, I'm just explaining to my friend. Go
Well,
ahead. Go
if
ahead.
anybody else has any questions or discussion on that, now's the time. Otherwise, I'll show something else from that Francis has a question about here. Okay, well, let's move on to that, which is let me get the share proper here. Sound off. There we go. Okay, so this is a picture. It turns out that she has a maggrav unit that she's working with, and she's wondering about the coil connections. And Franzi, maybe you could explain your picture here and what your question actually is about this for our
I don't see the picture.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Do other people see the picture or not? Maybe it doesn't.
Yes, yes, it's perfect.
Okay, maybe
Yeah, it's there.
maybe you have to switch to a different window with your. You're looking on a phone, are you?
I'm seeing still seeing my battery.
Oh,
I don't
Really?
know.
Try to reopen your picture again. Close the program and open it again.
I open it again.
Or if you are on Zoom, just close your Zoom and open it again.
Actually, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not so good in this.
It's okay.
so let me see how would that look. Is Zoom at the top and close Zoom, or
Yeah, just
Zoom at the top. Zoom at the top.
No, you are on Zoom, correct?
Yes.
Try to disconnect your Zoom and reconnect it again.
Okay. That means I have to leave the meeting.
Yes, and reconnect it again.
Okay.
thank you, Armin, for that direction.
You're welcome. That was your part, but it's okay. I jumped on it.
No, that was the right thing to say in that case. I could have been going through menus and everything else, but sometimes you just have to restart with Zoom. Okay, it'll be a minute before she comes back in, and in the meantime, you can see the basic idea here. There's the these are the plasma capacitors, and they're
It is okay.
hello.
Now,
Can you
now you're back.
see the picture now, or how is it?
Yes, I have the picture.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So tell us a bit about this. These are the plasma capacitors that are bound together, right?
Yes. On the top, we have bound together the minus and the plus. And so you see the left side is the minus side, and the right side is the plus side. And from the graph, we took the first minus coil from the first coils, the little one, and not the inside, the big one. We put here with the wire of the grid. We put it at the top, and then we connected in the bottom, at the right side, at the plus side, the wire from the load and the wire from the third coil from upstairs, and also the red one. And at the left side, we did the grid and we did the load. But I don't know if it's okay.
Something doesn't look quite right here at the top with the plus and minus somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
You just connect it this way in series connection, no?
Yes.
okay, are you saying at the
But
top?
if you
Go ahead, Armin.
yes, if you connected the series connection, so one part you consider it plus, one part you consider it minus. Okay, what's your question now?
Is there a connection at the top? Does that connect to the plus of the grid at the top?
Yes.
You don't need this connection. Let me show you different. This is for capacitors or coils.
Those two things are the capacitors. At the left side, I have 4 capacitors. At the right side, 3.
Where is your entry? Where is your plus? Is this plus that it's upper part?
The plus from the coil is at the right side under.
That's confusing though. So what is your question? Is it correct?
Is this connection correct?
I cannot answer this connection because I don't know what's the what is the end of this what is it, capacitors? What is the end of these capacitors are connected?
On the top, at the left
No,
side.
bottom part. Where
On the
it's
bottom part. Those at the left side, it is the wire from the grid and the wire from the load, and at the right side, the wire from the load, the plus, and the coil wire, the plus coil wire from the third coil upstairs, the upper coil.
but they are not connected to each other.
Upstairs they are connected.
No, that's the other end is open. That's what you want to say to me.
So it's like they're connected in series right now, but they're also sort of connected in parallel at the same time. It's kind of a cross circuit there. So what you're saying, Armin, or what you'd recommend would be to do what exactly?
Can you let me to draw on it?
I think you should be able to annotate. Let me see if that's possible here.
Find out what she's trying to do.
Okay, well I can annotate. I think you should be able to there, unless there's some...
No, you cannot start the screen sharing while the other participants is sharing. Maybe some.
Oh, you don't... Oh, you want to do a screen share with the whiteboard?
Okay.
Is that what you
Yeah.
mean? Okay, let me stop the share and you go ahead then. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, is it possible when you explain it to me to speak in minus and plus? That is what I can understand.
Okay, I try.
Thank you.
Okay, these are two capacitors that you have.
Yes.
1 minute. Sorry for my drawing. Trying my best. So these capacitors, this side, what they are connected together. The end. Even you have the loop over here, correct? The coil sits here.
I think hers were just connected at the top, and they were just...
At the top.
Yeah.
At the top. At the
And
top.
this both sides are open.
That is the wire from the load and the wire from the plus coil from the upper coil, the third one. And at the left, yeah, this it in between the capacitors, it is open, yes. In the top, I have closed them together.
So in the bottom would be the mag grab would be connected between them, basically, yeah? the maggrav and the load.
I don't think so. She have anything connected.
Well, she had the third coil connected to the second capacitor there on the bottom of it. So the third coil of her maggrav unit was connected to that capacitor.
Maybe we can, send her, the blueprint that she can do it that way. It's better.
I have studied the blueprint. 5 days.
Okay.
Francie, I've put my email address in a private message in the chat. I've got the time. I can sit down and discuss this at length with you and clear it all up. Because
Yes.
this is going to take way longer than we have tonight to work this out.
Yes. Excuse me, where can I find your private email address?
Thank you.
You should have a button that says chat at the bottom of the window. If you click that, there'll be a private message. It'll be labeled red private. Are you able to find that?
Yes.
Okay. If you're on a phone, a smartphone, that's a little bit different than what you'd see on a PC.
Okay, I will. What do you want me to do now? I have your email address. You want me to send an email address to you?
Well, when we get in touch, we can either do a Skype or a Zoom meeting, and I can go over this at length. I can take an hour or 2 hours and go over all of the details with you. Or we just don't have time to do that tonight.
Okay, that is okay, but I have no Skype.
Okay, that's fine. You have Zoom? We can do it in Zoom.
This Zoom?
Yeah, Zoom seems to work now that you got the hang of it here with the screen sharing and so on. It could work for you.
Francis, where are you from?
Thank you so much.
Armand asked you where you're from, Francis.
Where I'm from Holland, but I'm living in France.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I see it could be take a little longer to try to resolve properly and so on with all the windings of the coils and how they're hooked up. It's a little hard to tell at times. You can see here how the basic setup of this set of plasma capacitors with the plus and the minus hooked up the way it's shown in the upper right of this picture. But user experience will vary on the plasma capacitors, especially if you have two sets of them. Do you put them in series or put them in parallel and so on? There's different questions there.
Yeah, it's the system that Dave has down in Peru. He's got 3 and 3, 3 on the input, 3 on the output, and his systems are working really, really well.
Okay. Maybe that's.
I think it's number 3 in the drawing package.
Alrighty, let's move along, I guess, unless there's any other questions or comments about that. Okay, I'm wondering what our old friend Lee Coates has up his sleeve for this week. You got anything you want to show there, Lee, or maybe there's something else that someone else would like to bring up at this point?
Yeah, I've got my generator thing with the compressors wired up again, but I'm having problems with it. I could show what I've got that doesn't work.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's. Things that don't work are almost as fun as the things that do here. So let's get that pinned up here. Okay, there we go.
I still see your face. There we are. Okay, good.
All right. So what do we have here?
Okay, so I got the compressor here that's got the capacitor on it. I'm sort of in the way of the camera here. But
Oh, okay.
then I got the other compressor that without the capacitor is this one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, did that capacitor come with that compressor, or did you get that separate?
no, it came with the compressor.
Okay, it's a little square one. I wondered about that. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. And then that's that new mag grav I've made. The capacitors are on this tray on the mag grav. So
On the bottom tray.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
So I got 6 capacitors there. Now when I plug it into house power, which of course we're not supposed to do, both compressors come on. This light's on the power bar on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just used the house power just to confirm that the compressors were working and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now if I plug in my pump, what I've got is let's see what we got. Right now I run it off the power supply here, which again, I guess we're not supposed to be doing. But right now I got this is that pump I bought on Amazon, the 400 gallon per minute or whatever it was,
Yeah.
or whatever was spec there. And I cut the blades off the impeller inside and filed a pulley.
A
plastic.
pulley. Uh-huh.
And then I'm running it off the motor here with another pulley.
Is that a tooth belt you actually have on there?
No, it's just O-ring.
Oh, okay. I see. Nice.
So
isn't that slick?
So anyway, when I rev this thing up with at about 12 volts, I get on the power supply, I get 200 volts AC coming out.
Huh. Yep.
And when I go beyond 12 volts, it doesn't go beyond 200 volts on the output.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I can run this up to 31 volts here on the power supply, and this thing's spinning like crazy, but I still only get 200 coming out there.
Right, and do you put a load on that? Have you tried that, or is that just the open voltage?
Well, I mean, right now it's plugged into the system here.
Yeah.
So that's 200 volts. But as soon as I turn the switch on to get the power to the system, the voltage on my voltmeter drops down to about 10 volts.
Right.
And the voltage is going through because the LED lights lights up.
Yeah.
But when I turn the switch the other way, of course nothing happens. It doesn't stay lit, or doesn't keep running. So I got.
What happens when you vary the RPM? Does it change that 20 volts or whatever that's coming out at that point, or does that go down to 18, 16, 15 or whatever, or does it just stay at 20? Like,
it just stays same spot. It doesn't change.
I see.
So, and then I've also got a battery over here. I can hook it up to the battery instead of the power supply, just to get 12 volts. But that doesn't seem to help me much.
Yeah, it seems like you've got it once removed by just having that belt drive from the motor and so on going to the pump. It should be, enough removed that it's not directly grid related, you would think.
So I'm just hooking it up to the battery here. Just a garden tractor battery, 12 volt lead acid battery. So, so again, I'm only getting about 12 volts out of the battery, of course, and I'm getting up to the 200 volts in the voltmeter. And you know, when I I mean, the light lights up with the power going in there, but when I turn the switch the other way, nothing happens.
So the
So
light's lighting up from the little generator thing. Is that right?
that's right.
And so but it's not going through the maggrav unit at that point, or is it gone through the maggrav into the light?
I'm assuming it's gone through the maggrav. I haven't
Right. So it's
tested
just
that
not
directly.
it's not able to fire up the compressors really.
Yeah, no. So on some of the trainings, they were talking about getting it up to 600 volts or something. I don't know whether that's the problem. You got to get more voltage, or whether 200's enough. But you know, this pump I got here won't put out more than 200. So
Mm-hmm.
so anyway,
Interesting.
I'm stymied. I don't know where to go from here.
Well,
Do you have 2 magravs?
Say again?
Do you have 2 magrav units?
Yes, I do.
Connect them.
You mean use the other setup like you were doing a
No.
couple of meetings ago?
Hmm. You just need a little bit to start the,
Are you saying 2 magravs plus the compressors, or just
no, don't need compressors.
don't need the compressors? Okay, I haven't tried that setup yet.
You use total plasma. Why are you going matter level?
Good question.
so you're saying, Armin, two maggrav units plus that starter circuit thing, or
No, just connect it to the wall. Then I'll show you different. Try
okay,
it.
that's an idea.
70% drop of energy right away.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, sure.
You put 2 magnets together, then the electricity of the normal electricity, and then you have a free
Yeah.
generator.
You have 70% reduction right away.
Oh, reduction. Okay.
Yeah, make sure, Lee, when you wire that second maggrav in, you wire it in the opposite polarity.
What do you mean by that specifically, John?
Well, typically on the maggrav unit, your input is the lower coil. On the secondary maggrav he's wiring in, the input would be on the upper coil.
In other words, magnetical to gravitational
No.
and gravitational to magnetical.
Stop for a moment. What you doing?
Anyway, I don't have a wiring diagram for that, so I'm not sure what I'm doing here.
Well, if I recall the way Armin had it wired, perhaps you can correct me if I'm wrong, Armin, was one maggrav, the common went to the hot side of the other maggrav, and the common of the other maggrav went to the hot side of the first maggrav. Yeah. So essentially, they were wired in opposite.
They're not wired in opposite. Let me show it to you.
Because it was really not very clear in the drawing that I saw.
The drawing, I
Screen share again, Armin, or?
Yes, please.
I think you can go ahead on that.
Okay. Do you have a magravs? Which magravs? You have anybody have this kind of magravs? The magravs from Italy.
I've got a few of them here, but they only have one capacitor bank in them.
Not two capacitors,
Nope, just one.
just one side only.
Yep.
I have the magraphs from Italy, and they have the two capacitor banks.
Okay, do we have two magravs?
No, unfortunately, one of the coils is on the fridge right now.
Doesn't matter if you can make another coil. You do not even need a capacitors. You do have capacitors, so you can connect this way here. Give me a sec. What I did, I don't wanna disconnect. 1 minute. Okay.
What I can do is on the second magraphs that I have, I can just disconnect the coils, taking out the capacitors, and because the first magraphs I only have the coils there, so
we have two
yeah,
magravs. Let's say we have two magravs, correct? Here, one magraph, it's the end of the, let's say it's a one in, one out, correct? So if you put this magraph, this is out, and the other magraph is in, meaning you have two wires coming out from magraph. One is in, one is out, correct?
correct.
Okay. So consider magraph is on your left. You have out coming out and connecting in to other magraph. So plus goes to minus, minus goes to plus. You seen this? Brown is your plus, and ground and blue wire is the minus. This is
Oh, okay.
okay. So this is the end goes to the wall. Then here I just how I connected it. So now you have second piece.
So what's the green wire there?
Green wire is a ground. So I connected it together to you to understand that the ground and minus is the same.
Pretty much, yeah. In North America, we don't have an earth ground in our electrical system anymore.
Meaning in Canada.
Even in the States, if you take the panel off your board, you'll notice your common goes to the box, the actual what would normally be the earth ground.
Yeah, earth ground I have from my house. There is a earth ground coming from my, there's a pole and it goes to the ground. I don't know how many meters, but I have a ground too in my house. Well, to connect it, I connect two wires, minus and plus together, and here. One minute. Here, I done some operations on my eyes, so that was the picture. Here, the plus and minus, plus and minus. The same thing goes to the other end, but you connect this kind of connection, which goes to your load. Here. Here, you connect all your appliances, and this one you connect it to the wall. Connect the meter on the wall, see how many watts you're going to have savings. You can connect this way from your grid to your house.
So you don't need any capacitors at all, is that correct?
You have a capacitors already in the magrav units.
Okay.
I have a question, excuse me. This is going to the grid or to the load?
This is one side going to the grid, one side going to the load.
Yeah, okay.
Everything would connect from this end, you will have 75% reduction. Anything.
So what are the wires going into the female plug there? The ones going to load? What?
there is no plus and minus now. You don't have plus, and you have one plasma in that box. Because everything
It's connected in the female plug there that's plugged into the power strip.
here, same way.
Uh,
Both ends you connect the same way. Here.
But each one of those two wires, one of those is a 1 magrev input, one of those is 1 magrev output, correct?
Yes, and same thing you do the other end. There's 2 wires is coming from both magrevs, 4 wires, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, but there'd be 2 ways of hooking it up, so I'm just wondering which way that it would be hooked up for the female plug part.
Any way,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, for example, what we're looking at right now would be magrev A input, magrev B output.
Yeah,
On the other end of that wire, where you have magrev B input and magrev A output, that would be your output to your load.
yes. There now you don't have a plus and minus anymore.
Yeah. So, essentially one of the magrev units is wired in backwards.
What do you mean?
You're wiring an input and an output together, but when you wire the input and the output together, you're reversing the polarity at that point.
Correct.
And when you wire the input and the output for the grid side, it's the same thing. You're reversing the polarity and you're wiring the input and the output together.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So essentially one unit's wired in backwards.
Yeah, except when you say backwards, then you're saying that it's wrong.
Well, not necessarily.
Depending on who's listening.
Reversed.
I think that's
We'll put it in. We're wiring it in reversed.
reversed. That's better. Yes, yes.
Wait, can I see if I get this clear? I'm not sure I got this. You have on the left side, call it magrev A, and the right side magrev B. The A, the input of that is connected to the grid, and then you're connecting the output of it to magrev input of B.
Guys,
And right?
hold it. Can you hold it? It's so simple. It's unbelievable simple. 1 minute. Yeah. I have 2 wires in my hand. 1 wire from A, one wire from B. This is output from A, input to the B. Just plus, it both have pluses. Now, this plus, which is on your right, you connect minus to the left. And left plus, you connect it to the right minus. And that's it. The same thing you do the other end. There are 2 ends. One end you connect your load, the other end connect it to the wall. Now you have infinite loop in 2 magrevs. Whatever energy is entering to that magrevs, you're using now magrev energy.
And then on the output of that infinity loop, you connect your load, which is
Correct.
you can connect the whole house.
See, I have two plugs. One for the load. This one, which one you see right now, it's for a load, meaning I'm going to connect it here. This one in to connect how many appliances I just need to connect. And this one you see, it goes to the wall. Now, on both sides, there are 2 magrevs and 4 wires are connected to each other.
Pretty simple and amazing, actually. Just seems too simple. Amazing, yes.
Here, Facebook, if you go here, somebody posted the diagram. So it's not correct, but it's correct, but 1 minute. Yeah. What's happening? This Facebook is acting very strange. Here, you see two magraphs over here, how they are connected. One is out, one is in. One is out, one is in. So in one end here, we did the connection here. We open up a wire and connect it here. This end goes to the load and the other end goes to the wall.
Okay, now I know why I was confused. The drawing suggests that you're basically just paralleling your magraphs. You're not actually putting one in reverse.
Yeah. This is confusing. I just showed it because they have these pictures from the video. This is
Right.
what I needed, you know, and I explained it over there how it is. So, and again here, just
Okay.
connected to the wall, you will see right away reduction.
So is that clear to you, Lee? Now?
It's not. Okay, I'm gonna post you the pictures so that you have it. It's very simple. There are two wires coming out from each magrav units.
Yeah. If you could, Armin, could you label which wire is a magrav in and which wire is a magrav out? That's the piece of information that we're missing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if the wires were different colors, the cases of the wires were different colors.
And a second magrav. Okay. Now we have two wires. One and the other one is red. We will do. Okay. Now this one is this way. Each wires lines that you see, I put it, they have three wires inside: ground, neutral, and plus. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now from here we have three wires. Forget about the ground. Just we're gonna do two wires now. Yeah. My God.
Yeah, click way outside of that box to render that, and then you'll be able to, there you go.
Okay. Now, you see this? This is plus, this is minus. There are two wires coming out. This minus, you connect to the plus here, and this plus, you connect to the minus. The same thing in here. One plus, guys, here. My God. And one minus. Oh.
Ooh, by the way, go up. There you go.
Is that clear or no? You have any questions? Because right now, this way, if I share it, stop for a moment. Where is it? Screen share again. If I go to my here. Here. This is 1. Plus, forget about the third wire, forget about the green wire, just consider there is only blue. So you have your plug-in, which goes to the wall. And the other end is the same, guys. Nothing is different. Here. Now, this one, if I connect it here, and it's to the wall, okay? Because one end I'm going to connect here, the other end I'm going to connect here. It goes to the wall. And this end, you connect the other side, plug, okay? And connect your appliances. You can put here the meter. And you see what's the energy you save. That's all. Is that clear or no?
It's I can understand it. I can do a very nice drawing for this
Thank you.
that everybody can understand.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could do that, John. It is much more clear to me now the way it's very simple actually, and its sheer simplicity makes it confusing. That's
Yeah, the only part of it.
This way, there is no plus and minus anymore.
yeah, it
Yeah,
gets
the only
confusing.
part of this that was confusing to me was I saw the 2 white wires coming in and brown and blue on one side, brown and blue on the other side from the opposite sides, but I didn't know if those were both the input wires or if one was input and output. That was where I was confused with. But now I know, so I'll be able to draw that up and it'll be quite clear.
Cool.
Good evening, America. Good morning, Europe.
Hi, Shandor.
Thanks, Arne, for this explanation. So now one interesting thing happens. This is the entry from the plug side. And this is the live wire. The live wire has to go to the gravitational end of the maglev, yes. Then it goes out to the magnetical. I don't draw the capacitors. And the other comes the neutral. From the neutral, it comes to the magnetical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's continued by the gravitational, and this is how they go out. And plus, there are the other wires, which is the neutral wire, and the neutral wire goes from this one. Will go in this way, and from the other one. From here, and it will go this way, and this is the output. This is the input side. So I think this way we can simplify it. So what's interesting here, we see that actually each of the 2 magrevs are creating a loop, creating a closed loop with the neutral wire of the other. Which reminds me of the Alex beads, you remember those? So they were rolled on, like the capacitors rolled on a nano-coated wire with against paper, aluminum, zinc, and so on. And there also we had such a loop here, which created a closed circuit and created a gravitational demand for the other to create a plasma to deliver. So here also we have such a loop, but we have 2, not just 1. I'm just wondering, can we simplify further to avoid one of these wires?
What do you mean, one of these wires?
So I see here each of the magrevs is practically looped in a closed loop by the neutral wire of the other.
You already have a loops inside your coils.
And I'm not talking about the coils. I'm talking about the neutral wires, what they do. So you see, I draw it here with orange color. So you see, if you connect it already, it's supplying direct current to the output, just circumventing the magrevs. Magrevs we can add to that.
You're asking me the question I don't understand, how you connect your neutral coming the same way. It's with the ground. It's the same. What is neutral?
So from every magrev you have at least 2 wires. In your case there were 3 because it was an earth wire, which is probably not connected nowhere. So one goes through the coils and the other goes directly straight. So another question is, are the capacitors?
That's why
capacitors,
forget about neutral.
Are the capacitors here or between the neutral and the live at the entry?
Okay. Do you have, I don't know, the magrevs, I know how to connect the capacitors. We always connect the capacitors to the minus part 2.
I understand. So there is a capacitor here too. In that case.
Sandor, what is your question? Can you clarify to me, please?
So I'm trying to understand why it works. I see the connection now. I have seen it works, but I always have the question to understand why. What happens inside? And we'll get this question coming back from several people because they will say it's a short circuit.
It's not short circuit.
It's of course it's not, because it's in plasma.
Now you total plasma, so there is no plus and minus. The minute you are in need, in a demand, you just connect your demand. It converts itself. Because we never understood how from both you can create, from one you can create 2.
Can we just take one magrev and put gravitational to the gravitational of 2 coils and then create the loop within a 3 stacker?
You already have a loop in one coil. You already have it. Just understand that. If you put 2 coils, just 2 coils, you can do the same. Just imagine these green things are just 2 coils. You can connect your capacitor in between. You have your loop again.
Let's see.
Is that only one capacitor in between the 2, or do you need 2 capacitors?
Yeah, 2 capacitors.
Yeah, you need 2 capacitors, right? Okay.
This is parallel, and it's in series too.
For the capacitors, I have to make new sets of capacitors. Do I need to use, if you're going to use it for the electrical grid, I need to use the baking paper and the GaNs paste? Cannot use the GaNs water. Is that right?
You don't need a paper inside. You just can do
Don't need it. Oh, good. It's really hard to find baking.
If you have, let's say, aluminum coil, You can do
Right.
all.
Oh, okay.
Caustic and just put some cold caustic and leave it a few days. It will just go dark.
And can I use the liquid plasma, or do I need to use the GANS paste?
GANS paste.
I guess you have to coat it somehow, right? The water will leak off. Okay.
If you come on, guys, it's going to be pasty, but it will stick on it whatever it needs.
Right.
Applying, to the nanomaterial. It's an energy source. So,
Okay.
Guy, on that line, Guy was talking, and myself as well, about using glycerin mixed in to help make it pasty and keep the moisture in and so on.
you don't need that. You already, with the difference of your GANs, you're gonna you can create moisture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a field. That's what it creates. Separation. Even you paste it on there, the field, you just don't consider as a matter. Consider as a field that you're applying on the material. And the field, they always find in there, ingredients. If you put the copper and the zinc and a CO2, look what's the gap you put in.
Right, but can you like dip it into GANS water, or is that not going to allow it to stick long enough?
Pasty water. Like
it has to be in pasty water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to have some energy. Even a little, it will stay on it still. It's a lot of energy, yes. And you just don't need that much to start a plasma. You just need a little. We are always looking for, huge to start, but guess what? It is very little. That's what you need.
It's the old saying: if an inch of chrome is good, then a foot of chrome is better. That's the old thinking from the 1950s when they were big into chrome. Most of the new cars today, they don't have any chrome.
Okay, can I share this picture and make sure I got this right?
Oh, great.
And as simple as possible?
Instant communication here, yes.
Okay, come on. Where's my little share screen thing? Come on, pop down.
You made it that quick? My God.
That's
Hey, when I understand something, I get it.
While
But
you wait
of course,
service.
Skype or Zoom isn't working. I don't have the little pop down for the share screen.
Called you right away.
Let me see. What can I suggest? Let me try to share screen. Maybe it'll pop up for you.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, now I can't find mine. Help! Help me! There it is. Okay, I'll stop share and you should be able to, alright?
No, it won't come down. Come on, Zoom, you screwed it up.
Maybe you can share that we can open.
I'm trying.
That's what he's trying to do.
Trying.
Maybe you have to do Armin's advice of the week to restart the Zoom in order to see it.
That'll mess up my recording. Oh, there we go. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Good.
Okay, try to keep the same as the mag graph. So brown is brown, blue is blue.
Voila.
Okay, let's double check everything here and make sure. Input A, mag graph A, and 1. Input A, output A.
And that the input and the output as a bottom refers to your original mag graph plugs. Because once you take the plugs off, you haven't got a clue which is which.
Perfect. Can you send this to me, please?
I can, as soon as I save it. Actually, I'll probably redraw it, do it up in AutoCAD or something, and so it's nice and neat and everything's straight. And
perfect.
Maybe we can make it into like the blueprint teaching official kind of thing. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't have the template for that PDF though. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but
nice.
yeah, I'll redraw this. I just quickly threw this together with just a pencil, and I'll do up a little better drawing now that I'm really clear about how this, because I'd like to adjust this a little so I don't have wires jumping over each other, and if I can avoid it. But that's the way it is, right, Armin? I'm correct?
I was wondering if it would matter which side, like on the female receptacle at the top there, would it matter whether the wires were left or right, the wider slot or narrower slot on the connector? Like,
Well, if you look, those are equal polarity. If you took those two plugs and plugged them together, you'd have the blue on the left to the blue on the left.
yeah, I'm wondering, is that the way it should be? I guess is to have them the same that way. They should be wired essentially the same. This narrow or the shorter slot and the longer slot. Let's say the shorter slot is normally the load or power slot, and the longer one is normally the common or neutral. So
Yeah, but in this system, we've got one on each side, so I don't think it's going to matter.
So are they sort of? If we put a tester on that output plug, is it going to be load on both sides compared to the ground?
Doesn't matter, guys. Doesn't matter
Well, I'm
which
just
side.
curious. It doesn't matter, I guess, but there's no actual
No, I
ground in
understand it
this.
doesn't
There's
matter, but
no.
if we're trying to explain this to an electrical technician, he's going to freak out
Yes,
because
because there's no
chance
ground.
both sides can be wrong.
There's no ground. One maggrav unit to him would be live or hot over the whole case or over the parts that normally would be common or ground, and so on. It's non-logical and would freak out an electrician basically. But in a plasmatic point of view, it makes perfect sense. This is the conflict that we'll run into at some point with plasmatic versus electrical philosophies. Interesting.
It's amazing. Now you have one plasma. So
Well, I'm just going to have to fix those two units I've got here and put one of these together.
voila.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, Armin, I'll draw this up for you. I'll drop it in your email,
Thank you.
and I'll send you one as well, Rick. You can stick it up on the blueprint site.
Okay, and for next week's
Can you send one to Mr. Keshe too?
for next week's spot quiz, we'll add another maggrav and see if we can make the connections to that.
Yeah, guys, come on, make
What
it.
would happen if we had 3, 4, 5 magravs? Does it go from 70 to 80 to 90 to 95 to 98%
Come on,
reduction?
guys, come on.
Does it?
You'd have to do it in pairs, Rick, because you're dealing here with an infinity loop. So if you stick a third one in there, then you've got triskelion, which is really going to throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah,
Maybe.
sounds like an interesting wrench.
Okay, so everybody's watching. If you want screen shares, grab them now. I'm going to be shutting this down in about 10 seconds.
Can you send me even this picture to me, please?
Okay.
I posted in Facebook. They are killing me.
All right, I'll have it to you in 2 minutes.
I downloaded whole, drawing programs today, but I didn't succeed. Thank you very much, John. That's a big story.
Hey Vivek, it must be time for you to make your little presentation here. What do you think?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Are we done with the previous
So-
first, guys? Are you happy with that for now?
Is it clear, guys?
Really clear. Thank you so much, Armin, for explaining that in detail and everything. I think we got it pretty good now. And thanks, John,
Thank
for drawing
you.
it as well. Between the two, it really helps.
Yeah, it's very
So
clear. Thank you.
I think that'll end up making a lot of people inspired to hook their magravs together in holy matrimony. In a way, it's like the male and female principle, the giving and taking, the yin yang. It's all right in there with that infinity loop concept. So I think it'll go far.
Hey, Rick, I got a question.
Okay, and sorry, who's that again?
This is Eugene.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so I'm kind of I get that's kind of reducing the energy to 70, 80%. It'll reduce. But if we're going to like replace the compressors and do the solid state, we need to get some kind of a feedback where like the compressors are feeding back and forth. And then that way we could eventually cut off the plug it into the system here.
So you're saying maybe that perhaps we have the infinity loop, but we don't have the pulse, or we don't have something. There's something else.
I was trying to understand the compressors. What I understood from the videos.
Compressors are the same. These two magrav units. They're the same.
Okay, then what prevents us, Armin, from disconnecting from the grid then altogether and just having an off-grid system?
Guys, do step by step. Then I'll show you how to disconnect. We need a little energy to have that loop.
That's to keep everybody tuned in next week, just like they did in the Batman series when I was a kid.
Just try it to see it.
They had what's called a cliffhanger, and Batman's hanging on the edge of the cliff with his fingernails. And stay tuned till next week's episode. We'll see what happens with Batman. No, that's right. It's
1
step
year,
by step.
everybody have a saving.
It took
here. Now you have a saving. Now you don't want that.
It took us this long tonight. It took us this long tonight just to get those connections together for the two magravs. So we should be thankful that we just saved 70% on our power bill. But no, we want 100% plus, and we want to be paid for it.
It will do. It will, if you leave it a little bit running, it will do. 25% reduction, it's easy.
And that was immediate too, that you mentioned, that 70%. So who knows what it could be.
After it nano-coat your whole house,
exactly.
it will be different.
Yep.
Then you have 100%. You already done it. You put one magrav and waited for a month until it get the reduction down 20%, 30%, correct? Now you have right away reduction. It's going to be another month, so you will see another reduction. So what you want me to tell you? You will have your 100% reduction.
We want 200, Armin, 200.
Yes, I know that.
And once we get 200, we'll want 400. And after
never enough. Huh?
That's never enough in a way, yeah. But, people can have an adequate amount for themselves. I mean, most people have a certain range that they pay for their power bill in most, countries that might range from a few dollars up to a few $100s a month. In some cases, a few thousand for people that have a lot of power. And those are very well off, with lots of toys that are electric. But we have that general range, and if that was reduced by 70, 80, 90% for most people, it makes a huge difference. Whether you're using just a little amount, is still usually a big part of one's budget for the month, is the power. And if you consider power being not just your plug-in power of the grid that you pay your electric bill, but also the power for your vehicle and your transportation, and the power used to create food and to heat food and to heat your home and so on. It's all power, and if we can reduce that bill significantly, we reduce a lot of the pain and suffering of having to work so hard to pay for those power bills. Anyway, Vivek, let's look at what powerful operation you got happening here.
Well, I went back to basics as of yesterday and restarted my GANs production. But what I was trying to do, I remembered what Mr. Keshe mentioned in one of the videos early last year, is that you could take both the zinc plate and the nano coated copper plate out of the GANs production kit and still have it produce CO2 GANs. Now, uh, the main motivation for this is that whatever GANs production I've done up to now has been a combination of CO2 and zinc oxide. So I wanted to try to take out as much of the zinc oxide as possible and have just as pure a carbon dioxide GANs as practically possible with this setup. So what I did first yesterday, as you can see the GANs kit here on the screen. I don't know whether that's on the screen right now because it's not showing on my screen, but
Yeah, you're fine.
yeah, okay. So what I did was I covered the nano coated plate as well as the zinc rod on this side. I wrapped it in plastic bags, and then I connected them to a DC power supply and let it run. I started at 1.5 volts, and through the day I moved it up to 10 volts, but nothing happened. So there was no GANs production that happened at all. So what I did last night was I removed the plastic bags and I set both the metals in the salt water themselves, and I connected them electrically using a wire. And upon to John thereafter, I added this LED. So the long leg is on the nano coated plate. The shorter leg is on the zinc uh, rod, and I left it alone last night, and we saw the solution, the salt solution, get very cloudy. And this morning when I woke up, I had collected quite a lot of GANs actually, and this is still under salt water. So, but this is what what I had collected. So this morning, when I had removed the collected GANs from the kit, and then I poured the salt water back in, what I did was I said, okay, now I'm going to take it to the next step. I'm going to try to isolate the zinc from the salt water over here using a plastic bag. But what I did was I poured the same salt water that's inside here into the plastic bag. So there's salt water in there, there's salt water in here, but there's no physical interaction between these two salt waters. The nano-coated plate is still immersed in the salt solution. And I don't know whether the camera is picking it up, but it's still cloudy. So that means there is some GANs production. And I'm going to monitor this over the next 1 to 2 days and see what that does in terms of the GANs that's being collected, what it looks like, how it behaves in water, and hopefully this would give me a high concentration of CO2 GANs. But what I really wanted to ask during this session is that a lot of people have wanted to try the plastic bag method. And I remember Mr. Keshe saying that you could put the plates outside the GANs collection kit, or you could put them inside the salt water in plastic bags and vary the distance between the two plates. Just wondering whether anyone has actually tried it. What were the results that you got, and how did you go about doing that?
I tried it many times, but I had no results. But one thing I can add in here, if you have a plasmatic energy, you will have your production right away.
Okay, yeah, that's actually something else that I was considering before, Armin. You brought up the thing that we're going to be doing with the stacker coils, I wanted to take a set of stacker coils and attach them to my DC power supply and pipe the output of the stacker coils to the zinc, and then the input from the this is already plasmatic because it's nano coated.
Yeah.
So that will go directly to the negative.
1 minute.
One thing that comes to my mind when I first heard about this was using one of the old style Alex beads instead of the diode. So you're using the little plasma battery to energize the circuit rather than electricity from a battery.
Can you see it? Look at the production. This is 1 day collection.
That's a lot for 1 day.
What you suggested to put it outside, I'll try that one. But I don't see the amperage. This is high.
Yep.
You put 0.01 or 0.2.
Awesome. When I had covered both the zinc and the nano copper plate yesterday with and I hooked it up to the power supply, I was getting 0 amps. The voltage was going up, but there was no amperage at all. So I will try what you have done.
Very little amperage.
Yep.
Very little. Oops.
Aman, are you okay?
I am okay, but I broke something.
Yeah. Okay. So I will try that. I will try with the stacker coils, and I'll pipe that to the zinc. And this is already plasmatic, so that goes directly back to the negative. So it's not an issue. And we'll see how that goes, because I would like to, if possible, put this nano coated plate inside a plastic bag as well, and then have a pure plasmatic interaction right here and the GaN's production. So I thought by putting both the metals in the salt water first, what we do is we prime this salt water with the plasmatic signature, so for a lack of a better term. And once that is done, then we can slowly start removing the plates, and then just by creating the plasmatic interaction, the field interaction between these two, that the GaN's production will still continue. At least this is the idea that I had.
I think I like the idea of the plate in the baggie there that has the salt water already in it, and especially with the same solution, basically.
Yeah, you made the connection already.
No, I would recommend
Exactly.
putting the plates much closer together, and that
Yeah.
varying the distance between
That's
the plates
correct.
will have a great effect on your production.
Yeah, and Vivek, have you noticed any GaNs forming in the plastic bag with the zinc?
Not yet, because I just slipped it in this morning. So when I empty it, either tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how much GaNs has been produced, I'll take a look-see.
Because there was this fellow, Mark, I think, from Washington. I don't know if he's on here now. He did that with the water in both bags, the copper and the zinc in the salt water, the same as you're doing, but with both plates. But he had scraped some of his nanomaterials, so he had some raw copper in the salt water container as well. And what he got, he says he got pure zinc in the zinc water, pure CuO in the copper bag, and pure CO2 in the container.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm not seeing any GaNs being produced in the bag, but I will take a closer look later when I empty out this container, because I pour out all the salt water just to get to the GaNs at the bottom, and I collect it in a small bottle. So this container will be empty, and that will give me a chance to take a better look and see whether there's any GaNs inside there.
And there might be some, I don't know if this is true, there might be some effect of having the copper plate in the salt water as well. Like you said, maybe energizing the salt water, then might increase the production or something like that as well. But anyway.
Right. What was interesting is that I think it was last year when I did my regular GANS kit, no baggies, nothing. I had zinc over there, I have nano copper over here, and I connected a 1.5 volt double A battery such that negative was on the nano plate and positive was on the zinc. I noticed there was a sort of an eruption coming from the nano plate, and the eruption was white in the form of zinc oxide. So whatever GANs is being produced, somehow or another, I deduced it to be being put out by the nano copper plate. I don't know. That's just the observation I made.
Guys, Vivek, can you try one thing? You know, if you
Sure.
play in the bags, you put some CO2 in, you know, if you have collected whatever CO2 you collected from here, just put in that bag and seal it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side, on a nano, you put copper oxide GANs and seal it with your nanomaterial. Because
with the plates or without the plates, just the GANs?
with the plate.
Okay.
Why? Because let me. How can I annotate or write on the picture, Rick? How can I do that? Rick? Mhm.
Rick's into disco. Disco here, disco there.
Okay. Now I can.
Yeah, I don't have the option to annotate either, Rick, and I'm co-host. I should have all the options. I think the latest update is messing things up.
You are sharing it. That's why. I, how? Uh-uh.
On the Windows machines, it used to be under the options button, the black button at the top, but I bring that down. All I have is original size and request remote control.
But I have the annotate. I can. Okay, I see it. Aman, do you see it?
No. Where is it?
Yeah, I was erasing what I had annotated earlier on.
Stop sharing. 1 minute. I'll explain.
Yeah.
It's got to be done in full screen.
Yeah, just annotate. Oh, full screen. Okay, 1 minute.
There we go. Once you go full screen, go to options, annotate.
Okay.
I was going to suggest maybe you need to turn off your Zoom and start it again. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But I can't. It's not giving me that option. Why I don't know. Yeah, I'm on full screen. Now I go to annotate, but it's not highlighted. I don't know why. Request for remote control. No. No, I can't. No. No. Okay. You stop sharing for a moment. Okay, let's go delete all this. What's this? It's needed.
You should have a clear all option.
Okay. Now, if you have, let's say, your plate and it's in a bag, correct? Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Okay. If you have this plate in a bag, just put GANs of it, because just understand, when you have your nano-coated plate, if you apply GANs of it, because nano-coated plate, the field is here. Okay. When you have a GANs on it, now the field is here.
Ah, I see. Okay, okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Your nano-coated material, yes, you have the field, but its field is here.
Right.
If you have your matter field is right on the surface. It's still, the field is there, but its field is not traveling as high. But when you have your nano-coated plate, the field is much further than the matter. Now, if you have a GANs on it, the field is much, much further. You understand?
Yes.
Then you can have your adjustment. Then you can adjust and try to put this side a small LED. Even you put here your power, correct? But
Yep.
try to put a small LED in here.
Okay.
Okay. Then you see,
Okay.
bring it near, bring it up, and see what you can get. Now you have pure, plasmatic energy. Where you create that environment inside your box.
So zinc oxide on the zinc bag.
No CO2.
Copper oxide.
Whatever CO2 you have, correct?
Yep.
Zinc, correct. You can put zinc oxide because of
Yeah.
interaction zinc and copper. You create
The fuel for carbon.
magnetic field of carbon. So
right. Okay.
Try that.
I should be able to do that. I'll try that. Thank you so much, Aman.
You're welcome, guys. What else? Can I go? I have to travel Rome tomorrow.
Thank you, teacher Armin. Appreciate that very much.
Have a safe journey tomorrow.
Thank you. And bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Armin. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Is that...
Wow, Rick, you didn't shoot off into a tangent tonight. How did that happen?
Pardon me? Tangent?
Hey, we didn't shoot off on a tangent tonight.
Okay, we didn't. Well, we could if you want to. No, it was pretty clean and clear here. Yes, it's been a good signal tonight. Are we done with this part of the teaching from Vivek here?
Yes, sir. Please carry on.
All right, thanks, Vivek. That was great. Nice clear picture. It's fun to deal with that way. Okay, what else do we have lined up in our list.
Well, do you want to stay on the MagGrav topic tonight, or do you want to go elsewhere?
Oh, we can always go elsewhere, depending on what people need to find out about and have to show. If there's any, for example, if somebody happened to have a working MagRav generator, self-sufficient, sitting on the floor, and they're just sitting in the background waiting to show it until we stop our chatting and talking and showing here of our, GANs and so on. I mean,
Rick, I have something to
it,
add.
okay. Is that Don? Is that Don?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Don Graham. My focus in study has primarily been with plasma, and I noticed that in the process of me making 16 or 17 different kinds of ganses, a mass quantity of distilled water I was going through, and I looked into buying a distiller, which is 100 or 200 bucks or more, and I kind of put my brain to work, and it dawned on me. I live in Thailand, as probably everybody knows, very tropical kind of a environment, and I run the air conditioner damn near 24/7. And that air conditioner puts off what I call cold distilled water. The reason I say cold is because it's not heated. It's a condensation on the coils of the air conditioner.
That's right.
Which
I noticed that
drips off.
yesterday when I parked my car after I'd run the air conditioner for a bit. There was a puddle underneath. I said, "Geez, this thing's giving out water. It's peeing on the ground, basically." And that's essentially what happens with that type of air conditioner. Good point. Okay, carry on, yeah.
Well, the point I was trying to make here is instead of me running back and forth to the store buying gallon after gallon after gallon of distilled water and not really knowing where that water comes from, it could be from God knows what country. Mr. Keshe mentioned several times that you should use your local environment, so to speak, in your experiments. So that takes me back to the air conditioner water. Well, after investigating the actual what happens with the condensation, the condensation develops on aluminum fins. So I thought about that for a bit. I managed to rig up my air conditioner so that it would pour into a bucket, and I can generate about probably 2 gallons in a 4-hour period, which obviously saves a lot of money over the long run. And I thought, well, if this is condensing on an aluminum coil, then there is probably there's going to be residual aluminum in that water, and 2, there's going to be environmental chemicals and whatnot that's in the air around those coils. So then I said, okay. So I took the distilled water that I had and put it in a water filter, which is a ceramic water filter. Mine is a ProPure, but a Berkey, for those of you that are maybe more familiar with that. And I filtered the water and used that in my experiments, saving a bunch of money. That's one of the things I had to add. And the second thing I had to add, I have not built any reactors, but I enjoy listening to you guys talk about them. That maybe in the future I'll build 1 or 2 or 10. But in the process of my learning, I was in the bathroom the other day and my deodorant ran out, the roll-on type, as you can see me holding here. This is the top of the roller, or the picture, I'm sorry. Let me turn it on. That'd be a good idea, huh? Yes, better to see. Okay, I've clicked on video and I get a you can't start your video because the host won't let you.
Maybe for you special, I will ask to start video. How does that work? Okay, now we have something.
Let's see, the host has asked to start your video. Start my video. Okay, we're good to go. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
I will ask again and see what happens here. Let's see. I was getting Francie's coming through. Try it again.
Okay, the window that I have now, host has asked you to start your window and it says start my window. Click on that, check. And we're still getting the same thing.
Okay, I'm asking to start video again.
Some minor technical difficulties.
Maybe I've got too many ask to start video windows have popped up or something there.
Also, Don, on the lower part of the screen where the little X'd out camera is, there'll be a up arrow. Make sure that you've got your camera selected in there. Because I saw it jumped on and then it shut right off again. It's almost like you didn't have a camera connected.
It has Logitech webcam C930E with a check mark in front.
Okay.
Now is
that's
that
the same camera?
that is for the not for microphone but for video, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I'm using a headset for the video.
Okay.
Or for the audio rather.
And when you click on the start video icon, what does it do?
It says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay, I will ask to start video again. It's okay.
We're having fun. Yeah, we're having fun.
This could go on for hours. This is what we call an infinity loop. We're in an infinity loop now, everybody. So hang on for the next few hours while we get through this.
It comes up and then kicks right out again.
Huh.
Let me uncheck Logitech and restart it. Maybe that's the issue.
Or you can try the magic Armin restart technique of restarting Zoom, which generally tends to fix things.
I'm afraid if I restart Zoom, I'm going to get
kicked out.
Lost.
Yeah. And you're broadcasting from Thailand or something, is that right? Or?
That's correct.
Yeah, maybe there's some issue there.
Where in Thailand are you?
Isn't technology wonderful?
Where in Thailand are you? In Bangkok?
No, I'm south of Bangkok in Bang Sen Beach, which is about 60 miles southwest of Bangkok.
Okay.
Where do you get your weather from? Does the weather come over a city before it hits you, or are you getting nice clean rain?
It comes over me first before it goes to Bangkok.
Okay, so I would strongly recommend you use your rainwater.
I have done that.
Folks I'm working with in Peru, they're in roughly central Peru, a little town called Tarapoto, and when they measure their rainwater, it is cleaner than the distilled water they buy at the store.
Well, as I said, I filter my water regardless whether it's falling from the sky or collecting on aluminum fins.
Yep.
To get the pollutants out, if nothing else. Anyhow, I guess we're not going to be able to share a camera, so you're going to have to use your imagination.
You can try it again. There might also be a bandwidth issue. If you don't have enough bandwidth, it'll kick out on the camera. There, it just flashed, but it didn't stay.
Okay, well.
So
maybe I have been able to establish a connection with you in the past. Maybe it's just today is busy here in Thailand. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let me finish and get off. What I have before me is a top to a roll-on deodorant stick. And I took the top off, which I guess you would call the cap, with the ball connected to it. I popped the ball out, and it's a really nice round hollow ball that may serve interesting purpose in some of your Caroline cores and such.
Good point. Yeah.
The other thing is that the apparatus that holds that ball in place is rather an interesting device in that you could very easily connect that onto a fan, meaning the platform that holds the ball might be able to be configured into a spinning situation. So just keep that in mind. I know we don't go through very many deodorant sticks, but even if you wanted the ball and you went and bought 2 or 3 deodorant sticks and trashed what's in it for the ball, that wouldn't be a first, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, that's all I have.
Well, that's a good hint for today's group, that's for sure. Everybody's looking for these plastic balls to be able to put balls within balls within balls and spin them and so on. And
Well,
that
this
makes
ball that's on the
perfect
roller
sense.
is about probably 10% smaller than a ping pong ball.
Yeah, and it's probably very tough. I never, you wouldn't be able to break it very easily. They wouldn't want to.
And it's
They wouldn't want
round.
that to
And it's
happen.
very round.
And they know some
Yeah.
people use their deodorant sticks in a manly way and not too gently, so they would be not wanting to have them break or anything and hurt people. So I'm sure they make them very strong. And it's made. This is a type of plastic that's compatible with humans. We assume, at least. Well, we see your. Whoops! It popped out again. I saw your face, but not your video, Don. It's just not taking for some reason.
It's not holding. Well, we'll do it again another time. It's
I
not
see
like
your face there now,
this is him.
but it doesn't show your video.
Yeah, when I click the video on the Zoom part, it doesn't do anything other than bring up, your host has turned you off kind of thing. Let me try and restart. What is exactly I do to restart this Zoom?
Well,
Turn it off and then restart it?
yeah, actually, just quit Zoom and then come back into the group again.
How does one do that?
It's a little button on the bottom right called Leave Meeting.
Okay, I will click it as we speak.
And while he's doing that, okay, mine's working.
Yep.
Eric's is working. That's weird.
Got Lee Coates is on. Is there something you wanted to show there, Lee? No matter. We've got Eugene with his hand up. What would you like to say, Eugene? You can go ahead if you like.
Oh, I didn't know I had my hand up. So
Oh, okay.
sorry about that. Yeah, I was going to mention too, though, that condensed air conditioner water. I guess it's collecting off of aluminum fins or something. But it could put CO2, right? CO2 GANs in that water to get it to, and then collect the water off the top. So that'll be purified. I don't know, CO2 GANs or maybe CH3 or
a drop of the copper oxide
if
GANs water.
If you're using copper oxide, which is that's what they're using to purify the water, if it's collecting dust or molecular heavy metals or things like that from the air, they're still going to be in the water. There won't be any pathogens, but there'll still be contamination in there. You'll need to filter it. And the simplest, easiest, cheapest filter out there is terracotta, the red terracotta plant pots. If you can find them that don't have a hole in the bottom of them, they filter beautifully.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Got lots of those, so put them to use here.
Yep.
Oh, that's an idea.
They're slow, but the water that comes out of those is almost pure.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Uh-oh, I think you got lost. Poor guy. Come on, Don.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I thought using the CUO would purify the water completely, eliminate everything, more or less, and make it pure drinking water. Not right?
It'll precipitate out. If you notice all the experiments that they're doing, any contaminants other than the pathogens, because it kills the pathogens off, but any of the particulate contaminants just settle to the bottom.
Right. So you end up with pure, I don't know, it's not distilled, but pure drinking water on the top, right?
Well, so clean enough drinking water, but if it's dripping off of something that you've got the copper oxide sprayed on, it's going to be dripping off with the contaminants. And then you'll have to have a settling tank to let that settle out, unless you have to add more copper oxide to get it to settle out. It may not bring the copper oxide with it when it drips off.
Okay. But then you also have water that's got the fields of copper oxide. So if you're going to use that water to make some other GANs, you're pretty much always going to get copper oxide in there anyway. Is that right?
It's a reasonable theory.
Okay.
Well, I can't say for sure one way or the other because I haven't actually done that experiment, but that makes sense to me. It's like I said, that's a reasonable theory.
I've been using. I made put some salt in and CO2 water and a little bit of CuO water, and I brush my teeth with it. I actually wipe my whole body with CO2 water, and some places I use if I have a scratch or something, I put a little bit of CuO on it. It's absolutely amazing to me, and it's cleans my teeth beautiful. My gums feel healthier, everything. So just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, there was a lady I just saw a post on Facebook. I think earlier on today, I think it was, or maybe yesterday, where she uses CO2 water as deodorant.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I actually put CO2 and I put a little bit of CuO in that, and I wipe my underarms. I haven't used deodorant. I was just thinking about the balls. I might, because I don't use the deodorant anymore. Haven't used the deodorant in
Well,
months.
that's where I thought Don was going with that.
Yeah, well, nobody said anything, but maybe they're being nice. But I don't think I need it. So anyway, okay.
Alrighty. What else have we got there for show and tell here, or what would anything that someone would like to demonstrate or show at this point in time? I can quickly.
Can I show something that I'm working on?
Sure, yeah. Is that Zane?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I got quite a few ideas, but I'm waiting on some stranded wire to nano coat in order to make these
Do you want to show your video or?
Let me show you what I got here.
Okay, what?
Good grief! It's
What?
growing babies.
What are we seeing here now?
What's that?
What are we seeing? Explain what you have again.
Okay, well, I hooked up some maggrav coils, and the way that I hooked the coils is I put the gravitational to each coil, where it would create the infinity loop. Is that correct? That's what I was trying to ask Armin.
Did you see the drawing? Were you there when we were discussing that?
Yeah.
Okay, because the way that's working is it's the magravs themselves are wired normally. You've got your gravitational to magnetical to gravitational to magnetical to gravitational to magnetical.
Right.
But that assembly between the two units is wired in reverse.
Right. Well, what I did is I hooked the gravitational to the gravitational, and then I had the magnetical going to the magnetical part of the V2, and then the magnetical going to the center, to the lead, and the other magnetical going to the gravitational of the coils in the center. To
So
try and continue the pulse.
You've got all of your gravitationals in series, all of your magnetical in series, and then they are wired together at the end of the system, correct?
Yes.
Well,
the bottom coil magnetical is going to the gravitational of the little magravs that are on the V2. And then the outer magnetical is going to the center.
Oh, okay. I see. You're wiring it essentially the same. Well, actually, no, you're not. Look at the. Let me turn my camera on so I can show you what I'm talking about here. This design.
Yes.
Okay. That's the same. You've got two coils. You've got a magnetic and a gravitational coil.
Right. Right.
But the way they're wired is it's gravitational to magnetical, gravitational to magnetical, gravitational to magnetical. Do the same that same wiring scheme with your large coils. Follow this same wiring because you're basically you're building one of these.
Yes.
Instead of having straight coils, you've got big loops. That's really the only difference.
Okay.
But follow the wiring. Well, you can see it right here. You've got the outside going to the inside.
Right. I had it that way, but then it didn't feel right. So I was like, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not getting the pulse to the outer coils, and it's not being able to feed it back into it. So then I thought, changing it up and putting it to the center.
Okay. Well, there's also this isn't complete. There's a half of this is missing, and that's the other individual coils that sit around the
Yes,
outside.
the balls. The
Okay.
balls.
These ones, that would be this one here would be connected to this wire.
Right.
Okay. So it's actually crossing over the one next to it, which is creating the vortex. Because it's not this one doesn't do a pulse. This one does a vortex.
Okay. Vortex. Okay.
Okay. This because of the way it's wired, it creates the spinning of the fields. Because this is a plasma only generator. This doesn't do anything with electricity. This just does plasma.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but you're kind of on the right track. It's just look at the wiring, look at the wiring diagram of this and mimic that for the first one and see if that works out for you.
Okay. And then I wanted to put this other 3-stacker in the center of it, but with making the new capacitors with the stranded wire, the battery capacitors, feeding this, which would be feeding the rest of it.
Well, I had the idea. One of the reasons why I'm building the plasma only system is I want to take one of those and set it on top of my maggrav. And because we know that the stronger fields is going to feed the weaker fields, that's good. That's an incredibly strong, this device creates an incredibly large, incredibly strong field. That's going to feed maggrav, and I should get a significant efficiency improvement in the maggrav. That's what I'm expecting. I can't say for sure, but that's what I'm expecting to see.
Right.
But I'm also making one that's wired one way and one that's wired the other, so that I can have, when I put them side by side, I'll have the vortexes going at the same direction, which is going to create a very slow interaction, and I can have them wired the same, so they're going in opposite direction, which is going to create a very fast interaction. So I can look at how that interaction changes the system as well.
Right.
But I would suggest follow that wiring diagram for the first one. Don't try to recreate the system from scratch.
Okay.
Do it the way we know it works first. See what sort of difference you're going to have with the big coils. You may find that that's just too complex, which could be why it doesn't feel right, is because it's such a complex field. Because you've got four minimum of 4 interactions per leaf on your system, right? You've got a gravitational and magnetical coil on the inside, and a gravitational and magnetical coil on the outside, and an inside gravitational and an outside magnetical. So actually there's 6 interactions there.
Right.
Instead of just 2, which is on this system.
Yeah.
And that's, it's going to create a much more complex field. It's going to be a lot. If you get it wired right, I'll tell you, that thing is going to be massively strong.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I wanted to show y'all something pretty interesting. Well, man, I found this thing got wrapped around my leg yesterday, and I just kind of hung it up there, and it's pretty cool. It kind of spins the way it wants to. It switches back and forth. It's really cool. Anyways, I want to show you something that I tried. A little experiment.
Those are just floating,
Yeah, they're just floating.
and they've selected those positions by themselves, or are they?
Yeah, that's whenever I put them in there, I just throw them in there, and that's how they position themselves.
What's in each ball?
There's lead in the center, and then there's copper, iron, and zinc.
With GANs or just the GANs water?
No, just well, it's just the GANs, the solid GANs. The water is different liquid plasmas of all the waters that I got.
The water that they're sitting in is liquid plasmas from different things. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But used like a paste inside the balls? You mean it was solid stuff?
No, it was just dry GANs.
Dry GANs, but you put water in with it, or is it just the dry GANs in there?
No, it's just the dry GANs.
Completely dry, or there's no moisture inside the
Yeah.
balls?
No, there's no moisture in the balls.
Okay,
at
that's
all.
important because I'm thinking that there's electrostatic type forces that can build up with this type of technology, and I think that's a good example of what that's like. It may not work the same way if it was liquid inside. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd kind of like to see that in a larger venue, like a kiddie pool, where they've got a little more room to move around.
Yeah, I've actually got a kiddie pool that I bought. It's not a kiddie pool. It's just a round a fountain sort of thing, but it's only about a meter wide or so. And I've got some larger balls that I wanted to try that way. That they're made to float in water. They normally have LEDs that light up inside them, and they're charged by the solar. But yeah, that's a great example. I love it.
But that's very cool that they position themselves, because that's not natural.
Yeah.
Well, it's absolutely
cool.
Well, it's natural for if you had the three in the outside were all repelling the one in the middle, it would be and repelling themselves, it would be natural. But the one in the middle, normally it wouldn't be that configuration if they're all repelling. So it's interesting. If you mix them up, how long would they take to reform, do you think?
I don't know. Let's see.
Give them the old bingo drum roll here. Are they all the same size balls, or is that one lead one a little bigger, or is it just looks different somehow?
No, they're all the same size.
Yeah.
But it was sitting in there for about a good 24 hours. I left them like this.
Yeah, it may take quite a while to
yeah,
find their position, as they say.
Yeah, then whenever I came back in here, they were all just like that.
You
and I was
know,
like,
it'd be
wow,
great.
that's really cool.
It'd be really great to do a time lapse picture of it, video of it. Most iPhones, is it an iPhone you have, or some other type of phone like?
Yes, sir.
Well,
It's an
you can
iPhone.
do time. Okay. There's a new time lapse feature with the camera now. If you flip that over, and you could set up a tripod or something just to keep the camera still, and do a 10-hour or whatever it is run, and it takes a picture. You can set the every minute or whatever, and then it makes a movie out of it, and you'd see it in just over a couple of minutes, the whole 10 hours.
Yeah, I think right now you surface tension from the water holding those three together.
Yeah, maybe they have
just to get it to move a little tiny bit. We'll see.
They may have to.
I don't want to sit around for 20 minutes here and.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we won't be able to wait, but because I imagine that they would take time, like you say. They have to get rid of their stickiness. The ones that are sticking, they have to start repelling each other. So the fields may have to build up for a while in order to to
Yeah.
get the charges all straightened out and so on. It's an interesting effect.
But
Very nice.
Yeah. Makes me want
I'll
to fill
just
up my 14-foot pool.
Yeah, it makes me
yeah.
want to continue with the experiment I was going to do with that similar thing. And then what
I
would it,
have a bucket. I have a bucket here with filled with CH3 water, and I have a ball
And
inside a ball inside a ball, and they always position themselves. It's kind of too small a bucket, but I'll shake it up, and they always position themselves. There's only three of them, but they always position themselves in a star formation. They always do. Now they're touching each other, connected, or they'll separate out and take three. They do it every time. It's
and
pretty.
my wolf passed away 2 days ago, and I took her brain out and I made GANs with it.
your what passed away? Sorry,
My wolf,
wolf.
we had her for 15 years, and I guess the old age just got to her and she passed away.
Wow, and you
So
actually made GANs out of the brain.
yeah.
Wow. So this ties in with Mario here, and the idea came up last week, and the question came up last week about the iodine, right, Mario?
Did yes, the
Yeah.
And
iodine.
Mario was talking about how a fly or a mosquito can have that connection, that iodine connection, and we were talking about, well, it would really need to be a brain, and so on. Where would you get that iodine from? It has to be a brain of some animal or something. So there
And
you've got your iodine. That could be a very, very important GANS material.
yeah. I wanted to try and make some GANs without using any seawater. And I just used zinc with a carbon rod or carbon plate, and using zero 0.2 amps. And there's some developing down there. It's really crystal clear.
What kind of water is it then? Is it tap water or distilled water, or what'd you use to start with?
It's just the distilled water,
Mm-hmm.
but
But how are you getting the GANs of the brain?
um, I took them and I, I I stuck them in a pot and boiled them. I didn't boil them, but I got it to where it was really, really hot, and they became very easy to mash up. And I took like an egg masher and just mashed them and mashed them and mashed them and mashed them and mashed them until the consistency was like just like water. And I had a bucket already ready with caustic in it, and just slowly poured it in because the hot water and the caustic wanted to bubble up really fast. So just steadily poured it in until it was all in there, and then I covered it and set it up for about 2 days.
Okay. I found something interesting myself. The focus of as soon as I spun up that reactor where I put that CuO GANs, a touch of it into the center balls of my reactors. They're in the balls that's in the container as well, plus in the pyramid I was spinning, right? And I noticed like 2 days later, the whole focus of the workshops changed to the soul thing. And I showed you the reactor last week, and I looked on Facebook on the golden age of GANs. And somebody was saying, I was dreaming about a pyramid inside a pyramid inside a pyramid, and they made some pyramids. And I don't know, but I found that kind of coincidental. I don't know if I've actually, if I'd like to ask Mr. Keshe, maybe I'll type it in tomorrow. I'll type it in the chat. And Rick, if you see it and the time is right, maybe you'll ask Mr. Keshe for me. Is the field strength of the soul of it was a little fly, is that near enough to the field strength of the soul of the man that I actually have a viable reactor here with that field?
That's an interesting question. I did actually look up iodine in insects.
Oh.
And there's actually a scientific treatise on it and so on. I think I can show that as a website here without any trouble.
So they have iodine, no question.
So
It's reading out as an iodine field strength. Whether it's the same or close enough to the human, I don't know. But there's also the added thing of the fact that I think this insect knew what I needed, and I suppose it was coming to the end of its life and decided to give me. I've definitely got the feeling that this insect intended on giving me the ability to have that iodine level field strength.
Well, at first I thought it was kind of a crazy idea, that not crazy, but it's pretty out there to think that, insects could be at the same level as animals and humans and so on. And we don't generally think of insects that way, although you can get, quite a close emotional relationship with insects and so on. And actually, have trained fleas circus and that kind of thing. But anyway, I just out of curiosity, I looked up the word iodine and insects, and sure enough, they have this. There's this paper from 1957. I was only a couple of years old, and they talk about the iodine metabolism in insects and comparing it to that of mammals, and it gets into these particular insects and so on. I have to I can only read the abstract of that one to get into it, but there's a whole series of papers on this metabolism that's been studied. Actually, here's how to liberate the free iodine from insects powder by addition of it tells you how to get these insect eggs and so on, and you liberate the free iodine from the insect's powder by addition of H2SO4, which is hydrogen sulfate.
Is this supposed to be good for like humans or something like that, or does it say? Like what do you use the iodine? I mean, you drink it in tablets or something like that, or?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. I think they're just trying to get it liberated for further experiments, probably. I'm not sure.
Fortified supplements. There's something down there on the bottom of the next page, right above references.
Well, actually, they do talk. Let's look at this again. I thought they were just kidding, but they're actually talking about ingesting it, as far as I can tell here. They talk about the insects are a source of some minerals for the population in rural communities and urban cities. And so they actually...
Thyroid hormones. Go down there a little bit too, right above, keep going down. I saw something. Oh, right there. The last paragraph. Something about supplementary foods, I think. Is that it? Or maybe it's down farther.
I think it was down farther down here.
Oh, right there, the last paragraph on the right above references. Natural foods and better than fortified supplements. Oh, okay.
Yep, so basically they talk about edible insects have been the source of macronutrients, minerals for populations all over the world, and so on. And
I suppose at the end of the day, Mr. Keshe is probably the only one that would know the answer to that question.
Well, it's interesting that they mention it being high in calcium, iron, zinc, and copper.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Same as us.
Oh, that's with tortilla. Okay. So it interacts in a certain way, apparently, and the insects by themselves do not cover the dietetic requirements, but for cooking, salt is added. Calcium, or I mean, potassium is in between the rank. Calcium is also very low. And then it balances. Basically, it's a food balancing. The iodine helps with it says it was not present in any of these insects. Anyway, but it helps balance apparently the dietary effects. So it's interesting.
Wow. Huh.
And
well, I know it seems coincidental, a number of things that have happened. So I don't know. Maybe it's just going to raise the souls of the insects of this planet. Maybe not humans.
Well, maybe we're all in it together, so we're all being raised. That the insects get raised to the next level for them, whatever that looks like. The humans go to the next level for them, and the animals to the next level for them, and so on. Which usually means some sort of gradation difference, some sort of definite step difference. Before the horse was not talking, now the horse is talking. That's something you can tell the difference. Before the insect was flying around haphazardly, now it follows me around religiously but never bites me or whatever. It's just now it's trying to communicate with me in some manner. Heaven forbid if all the billions and trillions and quadrillions of insects of the planet all want to start communicating with humans all at once, we'd probably be in trouble. But, that's an extreme. It's for their world somehow. Maybe through its interaction with you, it is raised. And in a way, if you look at it, the act of consuming or eating another entity, say, for example, that the bug accidentally got caught in the food supply, or more to the point, something more specific that you deliberately and consciously, ate a chocolate covered cockroach or whatever somebody's thing might be.
The intent to kill it and eat it.
Well,
Right?
yeah, but with the intent that this is going to be a very enjoyable experience, and that you want to take in the energy of this entity, this bug or whatever, and actually transform its energy to allow it to become part of this greater body, your own, and becomes part of your experience as a human, and becomes part of your soul in effect. And in effect, that raises that little bug's beingness into something fantastic it couldn't have had in its normal life of crawling around the floor and getting stepped on, and that was it. Or a bird came along and ate it, and it just had a normal passage through the bird and so on. It maybe didn't transform it that much. But going through a human, it was perhaps a different experience, especially with the intent to actually raise the consciousness of that entity. And that would go for food, whether it's vegetarian or animal based. It's that intent, if it can be focused and truly brought out while that food is being consumed, to actually make it so alive, and not to eat it as dead food, but as alive food, so alive that it becomes part of your life, and it's like life joining another life, but transforming it at the same time. It's essentially it would be like us being, I don't know, consumed by an angel or something, and just being absorbed into this greater beingness that we maybe in some small way were able to help because we were able to feed that being's energy, or you could sense the gratitude and the goodness of the situation, you might say, and that it was beneficial to maybe give up one's life or one's energy in that moment or one's thoughts, or something, to sacrifice something for something greater is the idea. And maybe that little bug was willing to sacrifice itself to allow
Raise its own soul.
to raise its
Raise
own
its
soul
own soul to serve me and what I need.
not just you, but look at all the people that are being affected by this conversation and last week and so on, this interaction. This little bug has created ripples all through the universe, you might say.
Possibly, yeah.
Whereas before, like most bugs don't have that kind of life. They have a bug's life. They don't have the human experience, because most of the time we try to avoid eating bugs. But as we just read, though, they're a big part of lots of cultures. It's not like it's necessarily a new thing, this thing of eating bugs and so on. It's either accidentally or deliberately. I mean, it's partly now in the negotiations with Canada and China. It's actually came up big time in the negotiations. This whole thing of the canola crop, this grain. If they have too much chaff, too much crappy stuff in the grain, then China rejects it, and Canada's saying, well, we should be able to allow 10%, and they're saying, no, we don't want 10%, we want less, and so on. But part of that is going to be bug stuff and bugs and so on. That's part of it. So people will be essentially eating that as part of their diet, because it all gets ground up into the grains when we make it into grains, or the animals eat it, or somebody's going to eat it. So in a way, that's already built into our food system.
So, hey, Rick, can I show you a picture of it?
Of what again? Sorry? Yeah, go ahead.
My wolf.
Yes, sure.
Let's see that I can't share screen.
Oh, let me try to fix that. Here we go again. That should ask you to start video. Did that work? I'm not, okay, I gotta get that coming up here. Just a second here. Whoops, it didn't work. Just a minute. Okay, so we're seeing your video.
Yeah. You cannot start screen share while other
Oh,
participants
I'm sorry. There. I thought we were trying to start your video. You wanted to screen share. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go to my photos. See if I can find it.
Okay, while we're looking for that, is there anyone else that's going to have anything that they'd like to... Oh, Don, you got your video working. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, if you play with it long enough, you come up with the answer.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, I'll get back to you in a minute here. Zane's got his screen sharing going. Gonna have a look at his wolf. It's a real wolf. Is that, was a real wolf. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Or,
can you see her?
yeah?
That's her. That's Bandit Bear.
And is it purebred, or is it part dog, or how does that work?
She was she's 65%.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
My wife used to have a wolf rescue and got her as a little baby puppy, and we've had her around forever.
All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll send
Thanks
we'll send
for letting me share.
a little prayer to what was the name? Sorry, Bear.
Bandit. I called her Bandit Bear.
Bandit Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So,
Thank you.
so Don, do you want to?
Let me show you that
Yeah.
that ball I was trying to show
Great.
you
Thank
earlier.
you.
This is the top to the roll-on stick. Okay, you'll notice that on the bottom is somewhat flat, where it could be, you know, super glued or whatever to a fan or a motor, whatever. And then if you pop this out of here, if you look at the kind of apparatus that holds the ball, it's kind of a cool little thing.
Very nice. Very nice to be able to pop that out. It'd probably keep it while it's spinning okay too.
Yeah, that's my point. And even if it may spin at a slower rate than the actual framework, you know, because it's free in that frame.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the difference in sizes of the two balls.
Now, is
So
that is that a normal ping pong ball at 40 millimeters? Some of them are 38 millimeters. So if it's a normal one, that'd be 40.
I don't have a caliper, so I can't really tell you that.
Yeah, that's probably
But
maybe 35
this
or
one,
something.
the one from the roll-on is kind of translucent. It's not really clear, but it does pass light. So if you wanted to put a laser beam through it, would probably give you some idea of how things are going on inside it.
Or you might be able to polish the outside and actually make it clear. It's pretty hard. Can you press in with it with your fingers normally, or is it pretty tough?
No, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's probably quite a thick ball, maybe 1/8 inch or more.
Now, if I can get this laser to turn on, I'll try something here a minute. There we go. That's
yeah.
That's what the
you could see inside pretty good when it was spinning with the GAN's ring and so on. You'd probably be able to light it up pretty good.
I'll have to see if I can polish that just for the heck of it. See if it'll shine up a little bit. All right, that's really all I have. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. Great, you got your video going there too. It's accomplished 2 things. Alrighty. So we got anything else to show and tell here, folks? Or shall we wrap it up for today? Any questions or comments that we should deal with? There's probably some things I could show. I can't remember what the heck.
Rick, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hi, this is Fransje. For the iodine, can I use kelp, the plant kelp, to put in to make GANs of it?
Well, definitely. Pardon me?
Turn the camera on.
Turn my camera on so we have something to see.
Yeah, we like to see your pretty face.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I had a thought about kelp. When somebody was asking Mr. Keshe about the kelp, he said maybe partially you'll get the right iodine fields. Because what I was thinking about that, you have to get the center of the brain where there's nothing, where it's an empty hole, and everything's got a brain. With a seed, there's going to be in the seed. You only need that little pit. It's going to have the residue of the field strength of the soul, because the soul is gone, but there'll be a residue there. With the kelp plant, how do you find the center of its brain? Where you have to find the seed, and you have to find the center of the seed. With the kelp plant itself, you're not really going to get the right iodine of the field strength of the soul of that kelp plant. You have to find I don't know if there's a center point of it. I mean, it's usually all cut up and stuff. So you're not likely to be able to get, maybe you might get lucky and get some of it. I think that's what Mr. Keshe was really meaning. Maybe you might get some of it,
Yeah,
but
I think I brought up also about Himalayan salt, which is like 5% iodine or something. It's quite high percentage. I was surprised, but it's again hard to extract the. It's not the same quality as the organic
yeah,
living
it's sort of like
being.
this. It's the same pitch, but in a different intonation. It's not the same tuning. It's a little bit out of tune. You have to get the exact pitch. It might be within, it's still called iodine. It's still called the note A, but it's too sharp or it's too flat, relatively speaking, like
I
that.
think maybe
So
even on a different octave.
yeah, but I
Like
think octaves.
you have iodine at say kelp or say salt level, Himalayan salt, and then kelp level is another octave up, and then your insect level might be another octave up, and then your animal level iodine, and then human level, and then perhaps there's different levels, many levels perhaps above that. I would venture.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, the octaves. The only thing is, with an octave, you're going to ring sympathetic vibrations with every other octave.
That's right. That's why you can relate, and me as well, to that little bug. I often think of I do a little exploratory every once in a while where I lay back in bed and look up at the light bulb on the ceiling and think if this was a closed room, no external interference and nobody else but myself, nothing else here, basically me, the light bulb and the room and one mosquito. And what would be my relationship to that mosquito? What would I do? Normally, I don't like mosquitoes. If there's one buzzing in the room, I can't go to sleep. I have to get rid of it, put it out, or kill it in order to, deal with it and so on. But I'm thinking if say I'm stuck in this room for eternity. That's the scenario. You've got a light bulb, you got yourself, you've got this mosquito. Do you kill it? And therefore lose the opportunity of the only interchange with another being that you have in that environment? Or would you allow it to light on you and have its daily feeding in order to get by? Yeah, and you're like, okay, that would be like eternity, that minute or two that this mosquito would have to be feeding on you in order for it to continue and so on. So these are these existential questions that I wonder about at night.
Well, yeah, yeah. I was wondering that same thing. But if you remember, when I first talked about how I gave up on the mosquitoes and I literally decided to let them land on my skin and bite me, and I'm not going to try to smack them because they'll get away and I'm back to square one again.
That's the Dalai Lama technique.
Yeah, right. The plan, the trap thing, But when I lay there, I found that they didn't bite me. And I've repeated this many, many, many times that the mosquitoes, I think I have the ability to transfer the fields. It was a question of they had something I needed and I didn't want to give it to them. So they had to develop stingers and sneak up behind me and stab me in the back and steal it. As soon as I decided to give it to them, they didn't need to steal it. They didn't need to sting me. This is this thing about, like, Vivek was asking Mr. Keshe about this on the last workshop. How do we repel them? And there was a guy from France who came on and said that he sprayed around the nest of mosquitoes and he communicated with them to leave. But now you think about that. And I knew sooner or later, because this came up when I first mentioned it, a lot of you were trying to help me. You were trying to serve my needs as Keshe Foundation people to repel them. Give me ways to repel them. And it didn't come to it last time, but it did come up last week. And I was talking to a friend of mine this right after I first mentioned this. Sooner or later, we have the ability to use plasma technology to repel the mosquitoes from, say, everything that exhales CO2. Somebody clever will come up with a Gans of garlic or this or that or whatever. And, sooner or later, maybe the Chinese can use a satellite and beam it down on the planet. We have the ability, in principle, to wipe mosquitoes off the face of the earth. We can make them extinct. We now have that power, at least in principle. So now the real question is, if Mr. Keshe said this a long time ago, from now on, when he speaks of bringing the man into space, he's actually talking about every creature on this planet. So who are we here to serve? I've come to the conclusion that when I came to China, back to China from Thailand, the Chinese mosquitoes seemed to know me. Everybody else was getting bitten, and I wasn't. And I was like, in other words, if we serve the mosquitoes' needs, they need what we have. And I was in a restaurant. It was an outdoor restaurant, and it was a beautiful day, but the mosquitoes were out in force, and they had the repellent coils under everybody's table and all that stuff. And everybody was getting bitten. And I noticed around my table, I wasn't. And I thought, okay, let me see if I can extend that. I sort of just said to the mosquitoes in the area, land on me. Even if you didn't get the memo, you don't need to steal. If I see you landing on me, I will not kill you. I'll let you take the blood. And I noticed around our table, everybody stopped getting bitten. The mosquitoes just left. And I looked around the rest of the restaurant, there was about 100 people there or something, and they were all still getting bitten. And I thought, okay, let me see if I can expand that. And, and I tried again, and I looked around and everybody was still getting bitten. My reaction was, wow, what a puny weakling I have, how little control I have over those fields. I cannot feed the rest of these mosquitoes. But then it occurred to me, what if there's one other person in that restaurant that's thinking the same as me? No Ganses, no reactors, just a willingness to serve the needs of these mosquitoes. Give them what you need. What if those fields and my fields linked? Then we'd open a central core that would envelop the entire restaurant, probably the whole neighborhood. What if there's somebody else on the other side of Shanghai that's thinking the same thing? And we link. And, it's just a different approach.
It is, yeah.
As Keshe Foundation supporters, who are we here to serve? Just the ones we like? Kill off the rest? We're going to take creature into this space except the mosquitoes that we're going to wipe off.
Right. No spiders and no snakes. Everything else is okay. Right.
Exactly. And the other thing is, if a few thousand people just knew what I knew and was doing the same thing around the world, we probably could link our fields and the mosquitoes would stop biting people. How long before their physiology changed and they don't even have stingers anymore? We treat them the same as butterflies because they don't bite us anymore. What happens to the Zika virus? See, if I'm not getting bitten, I'm not going to get the Zika virus. I'm not going to get malaria. Dengue fever was something I was worried about. When I was laying there, I was going to the mosquitoes. Okay, take my blood, no dengue fever, but and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to drink gas water and cure myself of it anyway, but still.
You're willing to sacrifice yourself, but only to a limit. Yeah.
Let me put something here. It seems
Go ahead, one at a time.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. From iodine, there is a crystal iodine. Is that possible that the iodine itself, the original, the nature?
No, I tried that and asked Mr. Keshe said no. It's not close in fields.
It has to be built into the organic, yeah.
Yeah, it has to come from a creature, maybe mosquito or a fly, or maybe from a wolf, a mammal. It might, I don't know. I think, like I said, maybe I'll type it in tomorrow at the workshop. And if it comes up, Rick, you might ask Mr. Keshe that question, is the field strength of a fly or an insect near enough? The amino acid structure, is it close enough that it can be used in my reactor to reach the soul of every human, and every insect and everything, But anyway, the iodine from the crystals, I got 99.8% pure iodine here. And then I went, okay, well, Mr. Keshe said no. So to you, anyway.
Okay.
Back to the mosquito a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense what he's saying about the mosquito. If you think about it, he is giving the mosquito plasma blood. He is in fact a generator, or a GANS producing machine, so to speak. So it seems to me that if he agrees to give up his energy to the mosquito, it gets satisfied. It no longer needs to have the actual physical liquid blood. It makes perfect sense to me.
That's right. And not only that, I have a limited amount of physical blood in my body. And true, I have a limited amount of the fields. But I mean, if a million mosquitoes landed on me and drew my blood, I would die. It would be too many. But I'll bet I could feed a million mosquitoes with the fields, because as long as the blood is circulating, I'm generating the fields. At some point, there'll be, I don't have enough. You got to take a break and let me regenerate or whatever. But I also, sorry.
No, that doesn't seem to be the case. Mr. Keshe has said many times, when we generate a portion of GANS, it can last for generations. It doesn't have to be a quantity.
I think that's my point. I mean, there might be some limit that that I have to regenerate or whatever, or maybe not. But the point is, also it would take us a few thousand people where our fields linked up. We would change the physiology of the mosquitoes if they don't need to actually take the blood.
Absolutely.
Audio. A couple of days ago, I just happened to be listening to the radio, and they were talking about parasites and got into a whole hour-long discussion on this sort of doctor show about parasites and so on, and how it's common to have parasites inside our body, and it's just some of them that tend to get overrun in certain ways and so on. And perhaps, and they're actually a cause of many health ailments, and the parasites were apparently the cause of the whole south of the U.S. to not be able to respond to the demands of the times and progressed properly. So they ended up analyzing why. It was because of parasites. They ended up digging outhouses they didn't have outhouses before that time. And they figured out that parasites were in a cycle and so on. And it made a huge change in the people's thought processes, and allowed them to progress much faster because of this interrelationship between the parasites and the people. And perhaps if we become more aware and more conscious of those relationships, we'll be able to control them better with our own thoughts and set up, like you're saying, basically sort of a post or a positioning of people that are able to project that environment, that field that allows those mosquitoes and parasites and bugs and so on to exist, but have it so they don't require the materiality feeding that they normally do. So, and all the distress and diseases and other, dis-ease literally. So they get fed in a higher way rather than from the lower physicality factor. I wonder if that's maybe the way to go toward the future.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
I think I've had communication lines, so to speak, with a number of different insect species. And I think, first of all, the insects are living in the real world where we do not see the real world. They can instantly realize that I want to give them what they need, and they don't need, they can take it, not like a human. You know, if you're not willing to take it, you block it. That's what happens with a lot of the health units, why it doesn't work. But these insects and their community is very, very, very complex. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: the bottom line is, it's like when you see somebody who has too much money and somebody who doesn't have enough, and you say, well, it's just selfishness. at the end of the day, when the person who's got more than enough is not sharing and making sure that the others have enough. It's just a willingness to share. And if I have the fields that can share the field strengths that these creatures need, the reason I didn't want to give it to them is out of sheer selfishness. You know, now it's true, they bite and it hurts. So it's really that, but it's also like they want my blood, I don't want to give it to them. But all they need is the fields. I got more than enough to give them. It was just a selfish, it's just an act. Am I going to place myself at the servants of the mosquitoes?
Right.
I mean, I'm here to serve.
But
who am I here to serve?
Right. The thing would be, do you set a precedent of always feeding those parasitic entities, such as, you know, anything that wanted to come in your vicinity, mosquitoes, other parasites, perhaps. What else might be in that category? Certain kinds of bugs. About bed bugs, do you allow them to exist in their own way, or
well, if
you know, how do we set limits in a way of how can we coexist with these detrimental, what are normally considered detrimental bugs and parasites? And you think of you know, some people, for example, might be considered parasites. They always are needy. They, you know, have you got money for me? Have you got this for me? They might always, you know, need. And if you surround yourself with those people, then you would be always having to give, and maybe that would be okay. Maybe you would just get more because you always had to give. But on the other hand, if you were trying to get something else done in your life, it could just be overwhelming of, you know, having to give blood to the mosquitoes all the time when you should be taking care of your kids, for example, or something like that.
Well, yeah, but there's also the thing when you're dealing with people are not living in the real world and people are been suppressed and oppressed. These mosquitoes, these insects, they find a balance. And the best way you can protect your children from getting malaria or whatever, you could get rid of the mosquitoes, or you're feeding them with the fields. And again, you're not even giving them your blood. All you're doing is allowing them to take what they need from you from your fields. And that would be the true of the bed bugs. And they, if they don't need to steal it, then they find a balance and you won't have a problem with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with mosquitoes. Sand fleas I found to be a problem because they're biting me before I know they're biting me. So before I can say, go ahead and take it, they already took it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I found that to be a problem. And I found when I was walking in open sandals, if I'm thinking about, okay, take all the creatures around me, take what you need. I found I didn't get bitten, but then I forget about it. And then I'm scratching my leg and whatever, you know, because I still have to consciously think it. But, you know, there are people who have learned to do that all the time. And I guess that's kind of maybe where we all have to go, where, you know, I mean, it doesn't take very many people, and there's 7 billion people on the planet. That's got to be more than enough to create fields. You know, and there's another thing about the field strength of iodine of the human soul. I think I may have it. I'm sure I have the insects field in my reactor, but I have it in my head. I am a reactor, and I have the field strength of the soul of the man. You know, so I'm thinking maybe I need to link up with my reactor. You know, or with another person who, again, thinks the same way. No reactors, no ganses. I am a reactor. I am a GANS. I have the field strength of the soul. Why am I looking for it in iodine? Why am I even looking for it in an insect?
Well, you've already connected with the soul of the insect, so you don't need the machinery. You're kind of making the redundancy with the machinery in a way. So if that is the end result, is ultimately the connection is the more important thing than the actual result from the machine as such.
Rick, Rick,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the end game that Mr. Keshe is trying to teach us. on this long journey that we're going down, starting in kindergarten on through, a master's degree. He's trying to teach us how to take control, I guess, of our soul, for lack of a better description. And once we do that, we then attain this space travel that he describes. Once we are aware and how to control our environment, we then become an angel, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, and this
Become a god. Mm-hmm.
this is something that I've been thinking about. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. My technical skills are so terrible. My pain pens are going to give pain, not take pain away, because I just make them so bad. Nothing. And I've been really worried that I find myself in a disaster situation where I have the knowledge to help people, but my technique is so bad that my methods are ineffectual. Or
yeah, but then that's where you become the teacher and teach others. There's lots of teachers that are actually quite poor at what they were supposed to be able to do, but they're so good at teaching what they do. Yeah, that's it. That's the saying exactly. In the military, that's what they do. You get promoted to be a teacher. If you can't do it, that's kind of the way it works.
Well, but there's another thing as well, though. I'm thinking to myself, if I have learned how to feed the needs of certain insects, can't I do that to humans?
Why can't you transpose it? Try going to animals next, for example, and can you feed all animals around you? And then humans are just another form of animal, essentially.
That's a good point, yeah. Of course, I don't want to get bitten by a wolf or something.
Don't start out with rattlesnakes and wolves. That's not so advisable.
I was scared enough with mosquitoes biting me, never mind going to tiger temple.
How about, sit around a pond of bullfrogs and have a little conversation and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Of course,
that could. I'll try and let you know.
That could be a lot of mosquitoes there too, though. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, definitely let us know how it goes. It's a fascinating concept, the whole thing. Thank you.
I have a question, if I can. I've been trying to make a Gans of sugar. I made it. I have it in the container. I can see like in the bottom of the water, I put the caustic and the sugar and the boiling water in the container. And I can see in the bottom of the container, it looks like a syrupy thing on the bottom. How do I wash that? When I tried it before, it just seemed to mix with the water every time I try to pull it out. Anybody have any suggestions?
Well, that's a good comment. I'm running through the same thing. I took some maple syrup and put caustic in with it, and I've had it sit for a while. Let me go grab it and just have a look there.
What do you use caustic?
Just pure NaOH. But I also did something else too that's turning out to be quite strange thing. I tried making some CH3 where I put magnets on the container. So I can see if I can magnetize the CH3.
On the outside or inside?
Oh, I have the CH3. Oh, yeah, I don't know if you're...
Go ahead.
Sorry?
I was saying on the outside or the inside? The magnets weren't inside.
I was making some CH3 and my internet is going.
Yeah, you broke up.
I made some CH3 where I put magnets on top of the container, trying to magnetize the CH3. Water does not settle. Uh-oh. My internet's in. Can you get it?
Is that your syrup, Rick, or what?
Yeah, this is some maple syrup, and put in the caustic, and there is a Gans material that's formed on the bottom. It's when you could sort of see it in there going around. You see the little particles. It takes a while to settle out. There's not very much of it. But I've got a couple of different containers, different concentrations that I'm trying and so on. I really want to get a Gans of a good GANs of maple syrup as CH3 GANs.
So you just need to let it settle. It takes a while for it to settle then.
Well, I think what part of it might be is it might require a little bit of more heat, like to actually maybe simmer it for a few minutes at least, and with the caustic and so on to sort of get it to carbonize some of the sugar or something like that. I'm not really clear yet what the best way to go and what the best. I think it also might require a high concentration of caustic to pour into the sugary water or whatever you use to try to get the GANs from it.
Okay, thank you.
But if anyone else has any suggestions about that, speak up. There's probably other ways of getting the CH3 GANs besides the method that I'm using. Okay, I'm not hearing any speaking up at this point on that one, so I think we'll have to pass. Okay, anything else? We're getting a little on in things here, so I'd like to wrap it up fairly soon, but it's been so fun that we can't at this point. Anything else we need to talk about here? Hello?
All right.
Yeah, who's that again?
Hello there.
Manny?
Manaka.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, very well, thank God. How are you today?
Good. What's on your mind?
Good. How is everyone?
Well, we don't want all the microphones to open all at once, but people seem to be doing pretty good. What's on your mind tonight?
I had an interesting week, actually. A little bit saddened to hear about the passing of Zane's wolf. He was just mentioning his wolf to me last week, and he was having a conversation, and I was talking to him about the Bible. It talks about that there'll be a messianic time the wolf will lie with the lamb. That's how there'll be peace in the world. That's how peaceful it will be. The wolf will lie with the lamb. It won't eat the lamb. Then I had another interesting occurrence. A guy showed me an egg. He told me it was from a dinosaur. He's from Canada. He said he picked it up when he was hiking. I believe him because when I was a kid, my parents took me to all the museums in London, and I saw, they say a lot of people don't believe it, that it's real, but I saw all the museums with all the dinosaurs' eggs. Another occurrence was, I was just thinking about what you were discussing about the different, I was thinking that a lot of thoughts and reflection of reactor group conversations that you've had about insects and the fly. That was one reactor group. It was very interesting. I haven't shared any of my thoughts about it, but there's one specific thing about insects that it speaks about in the Bible. It talks about there's something like a caterpillar, like a caterpillar, and this one insect, it's hidden from the world. This one insect has the ability to cut glass. It was used in the time of the Bible. There was a story, an old story, where there was a bird trapped underneath glass, and they sent a bird to rescue the bird that was trapped. The eagle that was trapped had to be rescued, so they sent another eagle to collect this caterpillar. The eagle knew where the location of this caterpillar is because God told the eagle where the location of the caterpillar is. It collected the caterpillar came and cut the glass, and the eagles came and moved the glass to free the eagle that was trapped. It's a famous story. There is a caterpillar that has the ability to cut glass. Thought I was thinking about that this week, and as you're mentioning insects, I thought I'd mention that.
Okay, well, maybe it's got some sort of significance that that we can view at some point. I I'm pretty much ready to wrap things up here. Is there anything else that would like to get brought up at this point?
Yeah, thanks so much for letting me share my thoughts.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for the Reactor group today. God bless you. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you very much. It's been a great night. I appreciate all the input from everyone here. It was quite insightful and lively, and lots of good information actually. So I'm expecting everybody to mate together their MagGrav units, actually more like this way, not this way but that way, and
Also, I'm wondering, is it possible to use the 2 MagGrav units with a 9-volt battery? And let's say the 9-volt battery wouldn't run out.
I don't see why not. Why don't you try it and get back to us next week?
Okay. I just thought I'd put the thought out there. Thanks.
No, it's an interesting idea. We all would like to see a self-contained system for sure. Perhaps a combination with the plasmatic battery or capacitors would work, or some other setup. Yep. So keep those replications coming, and we like to see someone come up with a self-standing generator. That's the ultimate goal. That would be nice to see, so that we can continue refining the design into more and more plasmatic manner. Get rid of the hard copy and just go for the plasmatic. But in the meantime, it may take who knows how long before we go into straight plasma. We may need our various mechanicality devices in order to convert and transform and otherwise use the energies that we learn to work with. Alrighty, gonna wrap things up for today. And thanks once again. It's Wednesday now, September 7th, 2016. It's been the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group. I'm Rick Crammond, and I thank everyone for being here. Okay, I'm going to end the live stream.